69, 42.
All right, you know, those numbers, like, they go way too high for me, all right? We keep it simple here. Hey, all you crazy sci-fi and fantasy fans, it's time for your daily dose of shenanigans over here at the Blasters and Blades podcast. Just three nerdy veterans geeking out over our science fiction passions and fantastical fantasies. A place where magic is king, the sky is the limit, and space is the place. We are the podcast that puts the fun in dysfunction, led by the dysfunctional Nick, who's throwing that mask on for you. So who is on the mask for people that don't recognize it?
You know, like JR.
This is the Mask of Bengali, one of my characters over at G Comics, and it's taken a few bumps and, but I like it kind of worn instead of all like when I first made, or I didn't have I made when I first got it, I still had to paint it and put the lenses in and all that stuff, but it was like a shiny gold. But through moving and taking it to conventions and little kids coming up like, hey, can I put this on? I'm like, yeah, sure. It was a prototype. I got it on the cheap. It's all busted up and battle worn now, so it's my go-to mask.
Okay. So this episode is supposed to be our year in review and then our plans for next year and predictions if we have any. So let's start with Christmas. Yule just passed. So how was your holidays?
It was good. Well, Christmas is on hold until tomorrow when I pick up my daughter. Is supposed to be here today.
Oh, that's right. That's right. They're coming from out of town.
Well, yeah. It worked out because the boy, his birthday is on Christmas Day. So usually it's like a hybrid. It's like, hey, happy birthday to Jesus. You know, it's like, but we separate presents. So we got like presents birthday, and then we get presents for Christmas. So like Sunday it was all his birthday. So he finally got his Isaac's birthday. But the thing is, he wanted Applebee's birthday dinner. He loves Applebee's. Applebee's is closed on Christmas. So I'm like, of course, kid. Geez, man, we're going to have your birthday dinner either before or after. And he's like, oh, is there anything open? I'm like, oh, man, I'm like racking my brain. Looking up stuff. Like, oh, Sizzler's open. You want to go to Sizzler? He's like, Sizzler. I'm like, it's got the all-you-can-eat salad bar with all the chicken wings and stuff. He's like, yeah, let's do that. I'm like, oh, awesome. And then so we went and did that. And I was like, man, Applebee's would have been a lot cheap shit.
Yes, but Sizzler.
It's kind of my fault. I was like, man, I haven't steak and lobster in a long time. So I got the steak and lobster.
As you do.
Kind of undercooked. It was just barely cooked by like FDA regulations or FDA regulations or handles food and drug and all that stuff. Like it was just enough to keep me from the steak. But it was kind of mushy, wasn't firm. And I'm like, oh, that's it for trying to get a lobster at Sizzler. At the on. So then I hit the salad super hard.
Okay. What about you, Doc? How did things go for you in Viking?
Things went really great. So we are up in the nest in North Carolina where all the crazy power stuff happened. So we lost power for about 14 hours going in on Christmas Eve. So it came back in time for Christmas, which was nice. We celebrate both Yule and Christmas kind of. So, and we had a blast. It was good. Much fun was had. Some great books were given out. I got to read books. The Joelle Presley gave me this book, which thank goodness, because it was so cold, my electronics wouldn't work on Christmas Eve. So it was fun. We had a fire. It was great. Lots of pie.
Gotta have the fire, man. That makes Christmas. I had to find you a fireplace, Yule log going on. I found Shutter, which is like the horse streaming. It's got a jack-o'-lantern next to it.
Okay.
It's all set up for Christmas, but you still have a jack-o'-lantern, but it has a Santa hat on, and it plays for like 3 hours. Cool.
Nice.
What about you, JR?
So the hit of the week was Fortnite, which apparently all the kids are playing. I didn't know. I just took the recommendation of the guy at the store. Like, no, get this. They'll love it. And he hasn't looked at any of his other Christmas presents. I got him books and, the kind of stuff that I would have been excited about. And he's like, yep, all about the Fortnite.
I hate that.
So, If he starts trying to do the dances, though, it's all over. I'm sending both kids back to the factory.
That's coming, brother.
I'm gonna send both kids back to the factory if they want to start doing those dances. Just saying.
Let me know where you drop them off. I'll send the.
Yeah.
Oh, my brother got a 3D printer, so you know.
Really?
Oh, so more little miniatures that you can paint for your crack addiction. I mean, your Warhammer love.
Oh, actually, you know, I'm really hoping somebody can create a 3D print file of the logo, and then I can dragoon my brother into print them.
Oh, they're out there.
No, of our logo.
Our logo? No, there's not one out.
Yeah.
We have a really busy logo. You know that, right? I'll try and simplify it sort of to. I got some friends that are really into 3D printing, and I throw all kinds of stuff at them. Like, hey, yeah, make this, and I give them the description. They're like, "I'm gonna do double." I'm like, "That's fair. That's fair."
Okay. So that was our holidays. You guys have any cool New Year's traditions?
I drink.
That's what you do.
That's my tradition too.
Yeah, but now it's festive and socially acceptable. Now, like, Nick's really into the holiday spirit instead of functioning alcoholic.
Wait, you're functioning?
Is where I came.
He just likes to recognize his roots.
No, I usually do a drawing live stream on leading up to New Year's.
Okay.
And then I'll do it live, so I'll have the feed going and people ask questions and just it's kind of fireside chats. People just BSing. As you just watch further into just drunkenness, nothing makes sense that I'm drawing. Like,
as long as you have fun.
Yeah, it's a good. I'll stay usually in the office and she'll work on something like a painting something, and we're getting sloshed.
Yeah, I don't have any special traditions like that. I just hang out with family and have a beverage or 10 for science. We're just testing fermentation theory.
Yeah. I need meat.
I end up logging on and doing continual as a bar con. It's just people hanging out talking.
No. So we're essentially doing the same. Drinking and conversating with people.
But we're doing it from the future because you're over there on the West Coast.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, that's how that works. All right.
Timeline looking for me.
All right. So we did this episode last year, and the idea was we do a year where we look backwards, sort of what we've done, what we, the episode we're the proudest of, that sort of thing. And then, kind of our goals for going forward. So let's start with looking back. What was your favorite episode for 2020, season 2, so 2022? Nick, you don't have to have been there for them, because I understand your schedule was wacky this year.
Well, I've been looking at season 3. Apparently, we're on season 2. Whoa.
Yeah, season 3 starts in January.
I'm goof. Yeah, everything I needed right here. Man, I'm dumb.
Yes, you are.
Yeah, I got a face in the right lane.
I don't know that I have a favorite episode really from this year. I really liked that we did more fireside chats and we put the effort into getting those done.
Yeah. So my favorite episode this season was the tank fireside chat we did with Richard Fox, Blaine Pardo, and Scott Bartlett. I grew up reading Blaine's BattleTech books, so to get to interview him, that was kind of cool. And then to go on his podcast and find out that he's read one of my books and really, really liked it. That was even cooler. So that was one of my favorite episodes this season. My least favorite episode was mostly because I wasn't as happy with the end results, but was our Christmas episode. I was so freaking sick. I didn't even know what day it was. It was bad. And I listened to that and I was just like, oh, fever dream, man.
Was I there?
No. Yeah, you were. That was the Santa one. You were there.
Oh, the Santa sleigh or Bill's ring.
Yeah, and I learned the hard way that there's an upper limit on how many guests you can have before it becomes unmanageable.
That was
10.
We had.
We might have to split that up into 2 shows almost.
Yeah. So I mean, but I'm not upset with the guests. The guests were great. I just fireside chats require you to be on your game because it's not scripted for us. So we have a general idea, and then we just talk. So from the host perspective, it's a tenser episode for us because we have to like be on our ball to on your feet to keep it going. And when you're doing that, when you've got like 102-degree temperature, and you probably should have taken your ass to the doctor.
Dude, you probably have fever dreams, man.
I know. I should have written something instead, gotten some of that psychedelic stuff going on. But so that was my least favorite episode, mostly because, like I said, I was so sick. I just felt like I could have done better if I hadn't been sick. And then the Blaine Pardo episode was a lot of fun. But I liked all of our fireside chats.
I think they were all good. I enjoyed. I had tech problems, but I did enjoy the book review episode.
Yeah, the Christmas one, I ended up getting drunk because my internet went down. And I was like, all right, well, I was echoing real bad, and so it was probably just a gift in disguise there. But I upgraded the since then. I was like screw this. I'm tired of going cheap on it. I'm just not. I didn't go to like the full expensive one because I can't afford it. I was like, steps up maybe. So I'm not going or skipping or doing remixes. Unless that's what I'm doing right now. Apparently, I wasted my money. Yeah.
Okay. What about you, Doc?
Did you have microphone that I got? It looks like a Cylon head.
Like a dialect.
Yeah, it does.
Looks like an old school Cylon head. And it works really well.
That's a daily. That's a daily. That's on Doctor Who.
That is not a Dalek.
Look at it. It is a Dalek.
It is not a Dalek.
I'm sure in the middle.
I know what a Dalek looks like. I can even pronounce it, unlike you.
Well, it depends on who you're talking to. The Brits say it one way, with the other. You say it some other way. Yeah.
Brits call it a Dalek.
But the people come for anyway to hear me and Doc argue.
I will say of the fireside chats we did that came out the best, it was the one that Tony Weisskopf was on, the horror one, because that one panel, just sort of the conglomeration of personalities, was exactly what Doc and I envisioned when we said let's do these fireside chats. Like I introduced the topic and I didn't say anything until I introduced a commercial halfway through because they just kept going back and forth. And in an ideal world, that's sort of what they're supposed to be.
Yeah.
And so that was cool. I think a lot of guests are afraid to step on toes and they don't want to feel like they're intruding. So they sort of sit back a little bit. And these guests were just like no shrinking violets among them. So it made it fun. And then Nick was really passionate because he was talking about dead people. Horror. So he was there too. And it was fun. I think that's the most laid back I've seen you in an episode, Nick.
Unless we're talking.
Unless we're talking about like alcohol was involved, because we've had a few of those episodes too.
The comic episode, like you even said, the comic book episodes. Every time you do that, you really in your own. Because I have those questions because I'm comic books guy. That's why you guys brought on. So yeah, I was relaxed on that one. I love horror. Anytime we get to talk about noir, that was also cool. The cyberpunk one was me. I had a blast. So,
yeah.
The side chats, I think, were my favorite. And of course, genuine bromance with Doc Spears.
Yeah. That was a fun one. He's been on the show twice, and I've had a blast with both of the episodes with Doc Spears.
Yeah.
So, what about you, Doc? Did you really like the romance panel we did at the beginning of the year?
That was very interesting. Well, I'm not a huge romance reader, so
you love romance. Odd.
What?
But you love romance. Odd.
No, I don't.
I'm just giving you crap. Everyone knows you have a stuff. Prize.
So no, it was interesting. I don't know. I thought it was a very interesting panel. We had a good group of people on there.
Yeah. She's like, emotions. Ooh, I'm allergic.
Gross. I hate to take him away. Not a big Stephanie Meyer, if I take it.
No. So I mean, I read Alona Andrews. She writes for.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, her romance involves swords and blood and werewolves. So, you know, there's that. That's what it takes to get me to like romance.
I mean, I can dig it.
Every werewolf story is a romance story if you like enough.
Okay. So one of the things we did this year, so we did a lot more fireside chats, which were a lot of fun. Sometimes it's like herding cats to organize them, but they are a lot of fun. I think at this point, we just have to get a core, two guests to come. And then I think at that point, as long as you get the right guests, you've got enough for the panel to go on instead of trying to stress getting everybody there. But those were a lot of fun. But we also did a couple more book review episodes, book and movie reviews, which I thought were fun.
Yeah. I enjoy doing
I really
the one we did of oh gosh, I'm blanking on the movie with the witches now.
The one with Ryan Reynolds.
Oh, are you talking about the one with Bette Midler and
yes,
Hocus Pocus?
Hocus Pocus.
Hocus Pocus, yeah. We did do a lot of reviews this year, so I was like kind of deep into the bank for that.
So
I enjoyed that.
We enjoy doing them, though sometimes getting us all to review the same one can be a challenge. I did enjoy having Christina on and doing the Adam Project. That was fun.
That's what it was called.
But I mean, I'm hoping our fans will start engaging and telling us what they want to see more of.
Yeah.
Because that would be very helpful. Because otherwise, we're kind of like doing what we find fun and spinning it into the void, which is good. But if we could be useful for the fans, that would be nice.
Yeah, a little bit more fan, but it's not their fault. They all have busy lives, right? Really, the onus is on us to get them to engage much more. And someone made me an admin because I'm getting weird bumps when I log into Facebook about like starting a chat group and all kinds of stuff. So I could probably engage a little bit more and get the troops riled up or whatever we're talking about next. Maybe.
So speaking of engagement, we did get picked by what's the name of the college? Kennesaw State University, right?
Kennesaw State, yes.
So their marketing program used ours. One of the groups of kids, adults, students. There we go. They used our podcast as their project, so they gave us some helpful advice. Some of it executing will be a little bit more time consuming, so I don't know if the ROI is there for us. But they're giving advice like we were actual customers, that this was our day job, as opposed to like us, where this is supplemental to what we're doing with our comics or our books or running convention stuff,
or in lieu of having a social life.
Well, we're glad we can be your social life.
No,
but
they were very professional. I thought we had hired agency until someone said, "Oh, they're from a university and use it for our project." And I'm like, "Out of here, man!" Like,
no, they're very good,
real professional.
So,
yeah, I was impressed.
I like Kennesaw. I graduated from there.
So she's not biased at all. She just wants you to know that.
That's where she learned all of it, so she can make the T virus in about 5 years.
I'm not going to make the T virus. I don't need to. China already made the C virus.
And on that happy note, we will move on. So, what do you wish we had done differently what kind of episodes would you have liked to have seen that we didn't get around to doing this year?
Oh, at the risk of having too much dead air, I would like to see more like in the same format as our it's more of a form, free flow, just kind of discussion about a topic. It's stuff we usually do. I like to see we did a lot this year, and they were all awesome.
More that's just the three of us, maybe.
Some of those. Maybe we pick up more movie reviews, more movie deconstruction stuff, or maybe pick a book. We all read and come in. We do book reviews.
We did one of those.
I'll do 2 next year. Let's do two.
I got Nick and JR to read a book.
I listen.
Less impressive about JR and more impressive about Nick reading it.
Nick, if your English teacher in high school could see you now volunteering to do book reviews, they'd be having heart attacks.
Oh, well, when I published my first comic book, I made sure to send her 5 copies.
How'd that go?
She was really impressed. She goes, I didn't think you learned anything in my class. And I'm like, well,
send her a copy of the anthology you were in.
Well, yeah, I might if she's alive. God damn. In 1996, she was old as hell. So, Brown, if you're stoned, look for a package of books.
Oh, I know. Send it to the high school you graduated from and go, hey, I'm an alumni of here and I wrote this short story.
It's funny. My college is more on track of what I'm doing now than my high school ever is. They're like, hey, see that you're the CEO of Apogee Comics. Oh, yeah, and you're also on a podcast. Like, how do these people do this?
Okay.
That's your college. My college is like, wait. Oh, shit, you graduated. Sorry.
was that a diploma? After they like
this is the one where I even went to my graduation.
Oh wow. What school is that? Well, except for marketing department. Those guys are awesome.
Oh, they're good actually. I do like KSU. They're really great. They have one of the largest percentage, I think the highest percentage of vet students.
Do a master's program because I'm looking at
Yes, they have several master's programs. And in fact, when you graduate and you're a veteran, you get a special sash with your brand.
Is it cam? I love multi-cam.
No, it's not multi-cam.
Oh, damn it.
Okay.
But anyway, I'm in.
So yeah, I'd like to do more of the fireside chats and more of the review episodes, books, and movies. I definitely would like to do more of those for 2023.
KSU has its own convention though, OwlCon.
What's that?
KSU has its own convention, OwlCon.
OwlCon?
Do you like sit around and hoot at the wall or something?
No, they have like a costume contest and everything. Like it's like a geek con.
Oh, nice.
So
all right.
I keep
telling
you
go every year
stuff with them.
Do you go every year?
No.
Bad alumni. They're gonna take away your card or something.
You know, first they have to give me a parking spot. No, I'm kidding.
So, what do you guys think we should shoot for season 3? Do you guys got any goals?
I'm still working hard to get more comic book artists on here. Because I really failed on that, and I reached out to some guys that are probably outside my pay grade. You know, I shot for the stars, and I felt really short. Like I was trying to get Ron Garnier, who's one of my favorite artists, and he did that comic book with Keanu Reeves, Berserk. And every red-blooded woman that, if they actually listen to our show, really likes Keanu Reeves and probably likes science fiction and dystopian futures. So
yeah, anybody who doesn't like Keanu Reeves has something wrong with them.
I'm the most hetero dude you've ever seen. I have a man crush on Keanu Reeves ever since Constantine.
Okay.
But that's my goal. And I wanted some independent filmmakers that deal with the realm of sci-fi and fantasy. Because I've met a few of those people.
I've been digging Dust lately. Like it's a YouTube channel. So that is what, speaking of indie film, like you should check it out, Doc. Seriously, it's all indie sci-fi and fantasy short films, and in 20 minutes they're like shooting the freaking bottom out, or whatever the expression is. They're making Hollywood look like a bunch of like B-level chumps.
Yeah,
that doesn't take much, I know, but
I'm not going to be mean about that.
So that's that's on my list too. I wouldn't mind seeing. So we did last season of Sci-Fi Shenanigans. We interviewed actor Rainbow Sun Franks, and that was a lot of fun. I would like to maybe see if we can get some of the iconic characters from like sci-fi TV that we grew up on. See if we can get the actors or actresses on to talk about it. I think if we go too big for that, then it's going to be harder to get them, just because everybody wants them. But if you go like smaller time to start with, that could be fun.
I would like to get like some of the narrators, audiobook
So
narrators.
I've thought about that. My concern with an audiobook narrator is, like, I mean, other than just having them on as a guest and, oh, by the way, they're narrators, like, if we wanted to talk to them about being a narrator, how do we keep that fan focused? Because they're not writing the content, they're just voicing it.
Yeah, but I think fans actually find some of that some of the nuts and bolts more interesting than you think.
Well, you organize it, I'll be there. I'm not sure how to make that work. I mean, it took me 2 years to figure out how to put the panel together for the book review that worked from a reader perspective.
I just came up with either a brilliant or disastrous idea as a whole.
Go for
I'm
it.
gonna try and get Sam Jones, Flash Gordon himself.
That's not the Flash Gordon running from the cops, right? Isn't there one that's on the news, like cop issues? I don't know.
Jones?
No, you're thinking Ezra Miller.
No, that's the Flash.
That's the Flash.
Thank God have me here, JR. That's the Flash.
No. Wait, Nick, can we just all appreciate for a moment that me, who lives under a rock when it comes to comics, knew A, who it was, and B, what the actor was?
And then 3, I'm going to draw you a picture to commemorate this occasion.
I mean, this should be marked on a calendar. I knew who Ezra Miller is, and that they play the Flash.
Okay.
I'm writing on right now that there will be a certificate
of achievement.
You're gonna get a Nick com. I don't give those out very often. I'm very strict. It's Marine Corps stuff.
Okay. So what about you, Doc?
I still
mark my words. Sam Jones be on this show.
We can all agree to go watch the new Flash movie and then review it on here. They're releasing it in like June.
And I'm going to talk about James Gunn. Yeah, it'll be a show. It might be a twofer.
I don't really like Ezra Miller's portrayal of the Flash. I really prefer the Barry one from DCU, the TV show.
Grant Gustin? Yeah, he's perfect Flash.
He's perfect for it because that is like the character as I understand the character. You know, he's got the tragic past, but he really is like a good guy science nerd who really wants to help people.
Yeah, but he has the attitude of Walt West, which is an entirely different character. But I do know how they were able to seamlessly merge those two characters together. Because Barry Allen and the comedies, like Overage, boring. Wally West, smart ass. He's like Spider-Man that can run.
Yes.
The CW show I fell in love with because they took all the assets I loved about Barry Allen and Wally West and put them together.
Well, it came about at a great time because it really, like, Flash came about as the Arrow was being super, super duper dark, so it balanced each other.
Yeah, it was a good balance because Flash is not a darker. He's got dark.
There's room for grimdark. I think it's overdone and it doesn't fit every IP intellectual property.
I love some of the moments where that grimdark of Arrow rubbed against the Flash.
Yeah, very so up and positive about everything. It's almost annoying. It's like
there was a time when it was like, no, you have to know how to use a weapon. Here, it hands him a button. He's like, "Why am I already here?"
It's like I'm super fast. I don't really do battle. I just run and push people.
So, what are your goals for 2023, Doc? For season 3?
To fall asleep on less of them.
Yeah, that'd be good. Shoot your aim high, as they say.
No, I think I'm not sure what our goals are. My goals are for episodes that we build. I think. So I don't know.
One of the things that they mentioned in the Kennesaw State Review for marketing is that we had let mission creep, so episodes kept getting longer and longer.
Yeah.
And there's really no return on investment on that. So we try to keep the episode now. Late since that revelation, we've been trying to keep it closer to just at an hour. Sometimes we miss and we hit an hour and 15, but it's better than missing and hitting 2.5 hours. Casey Azell, sorry.
Chuck Azell.
Yeah, she was a lot of fun, but I do think there's something to be said for keeping it
I think
tighter.
There's some of what we can maybe do with it is, we've unlocked the feature of the bonus features for people who subscribe. And because there are sometimes like when we had Eric Flint on, which was wonderful to have, Eric was not doing a lot of interviews, and that we did because he did pass. So, and that we let that go on. Eric is was a very profuse person, and every word he said was really good. He always had impact with what he said. Maybe taking some of those and either breaking them into shorter episodes so that we get 2 episodes out of something that's super long like that, or putting the other half up behind the paywall. Here, we've edited out. I don't know.
So the reason I don't do a lot of editing right now, unless there's an actual reason, is because it takes so long to render those.
Oh, no, I do understand that one.
So by actually not editing and doing the commercial live during the show, so the guests are watching it too, I don't add it in post anymore. I actually shaved hours off my post-production time. So unless there's a reason, I literally download it, upload it when it's the day of the week that it's due, and we rock on. So there's something to be said for that. So let's talk about that. So right now we've had a pretty stagnant growth. We get about 60 listens per episode on the podcast side, and about 30-ish, give or take, on the YouTube side. We have sort of hit a stagnant. I don't know how to get us out there to more people. Do we accept that the roughly 100 per episode is it? And if so, this costs money to run. So it's about $100 a year for the StreamYards where we do our recording. Plus the software to edit has a license that's about the same. So trying to figure out a way to, at a minimum, break even to keep the lights on. Because I don't know if anyone who follows my writing knows I'm really slow. Life has been keeping me busy. And so I can't afford necessarily to just fund this indefinitely. Like right now, I just sort of write it off as a marketing expense. But that can't last forever. So if we want to keep this around instead in the current iteration, then come up with some solutions. And one of that is potentially some episodes to go behind that paywall that we've unlocked on Anchor FM, where people subscribe and then they get these episodes. I don't expect any of us are going to hit Joe Rogan kind of money, although I wouldn't turn it down. But I would settle at a minimum.
Certainly drugs on it, I guess.
Anyway, family friendly. At a minimum, if we cover our overhead and maybe the books, because right now when we do the reviews, I don't think everyone realizes how generous Doc buys the books that we do the reviews on, or the movies, because she's doing that kind of stuff anyway, and so at a minimum, if we could break even for that kind of stuff. We have been hesitant to take books from the authors for reviews because I don't ever want to feel like we're locked in or that you feel like our opinion were bought. So every review we've done, either we got the books ourselves or Doc paid for it. And so that's one of the that's one of the things I'd like to be able to do is, have a little bit of set aside to get this book to do the review for the podcast. So that's and so as the audience, if you've got ideas, we'd really love for you guys to get engaged and say, hey, I like this, I don't like that. It doesn't take much. If you don't want to do it on the YouTubes or the Facebooks or whatever, you can always message us directly. We're pretty accessible. But we're definitely trying to be a service for you guys. We have fun doing it.
That's what it's
how can we Gmail? So you can always
blastersandbladespodcast@gmail.com. And we do answer it. Doc and I both have the login. Nick does too, but he never remembers.
That's right.
It's okay. You've got a lot going on,
It's just the emails.
I'm just saying, he's wrestling dolphins for fun and pay. Like those little buggers keep trying to smuggle drugs, but you know,
dolphins, the sea lions, they put up a fight.
No means no, Nick.
No, not in the marine life. No.
Not when he's arresting them. They don't get to say no.
I got fish for them and everything. I give them everything to entice them onto my boat, and they still say no. It's retarded.
So that's our plan, trying to figure out what we're going to do as far as, you know, monetizing. But for a moment, we're going to pause while we shamelessly shill for the man.
Ho, ho! Oh, hell. Is that sleigh bells ringing in your ears or a few rounds from an M60? You wanted the jolly fat man to bring Yuletide joy, but the season has gifted you with a heartbreaker and a life taker. Badass Santa. Grab your eggnog and camouflage candy canes. Strap on your bulletproof holiday stockings and prepare for thrills and kills. From blood-stained rebellion at the North Pole to a Black Ops raid on a distant planet, these 18 action-packed tales will show you Saint Nick as you have never seen him before. It's all you'll want for Christmas.
All right, thank you for sticking with us through that commercial interlude. Our narrator, Garrett Michael Brown, did an amazing job on this anthology, so you should definitely go check that out. Links will be in the show notes as usual.
I've been listening to it, and it's awesome. And some of the stories are super funny. Like,
you're welcome.
Hollows are super funny. Nick's, I enjoy it. So, you know, definitely worth checking out. It's not.
It was mostly JR. I just insulted.
No, you don't undersell your role in this. Like, it started with he was helping me with the spec ops stuff, because like I said, I make no bones that I was just your basic fish, you know, leg grunt, right? Like, I didn't do any of the cool stuff.
Guys, so I use what I know, and I talk to the guys that are in there, and they're like, "Yeah, that's totally, like, nothing's changed, Nick. We still do that stuff. It's just more advanced tech." And I'm like, "Okay, cool."
So I was told it was Tolkien Elves meets Old Testament with feral insanity by people that read it, which they thought was a compliment. So I'm going to take it and we're going to run with it.
I want to make the elf helmet that you described in there, the cramp helmet.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so having that, brother. I just watched a movie. Have any one of you watched Krampus, the movie?
Krampus, the movie?
Yeah.
No.
I have. Not the newer one that just came out, the Santa one.
I want to say 2015, 2016, somewhere around.
Yeah, I saw that.
You know, with the German grandmother that knew what was going on, but nobody understood her. So
yeah,
that one's really cool, and it really made me think of our story. And I'm like, because they had little demon type elves, you know, trying to break it in. They had gingerbread men as like reconnaissance assets. And that was the funniest part of the movie. These crazy gingerbread. And I'm like, God, I'm making notes. And then I watched Violent Night right after that. And I was just taking notes. And I'm like, so Jared wants to make a sequel to this story? I got notes.
So this is one of the years, like, I've been doing some introspection about the business and how I run it. I write the anthologies because I'm passionate about short content. I absolutely love it. But at this point, I am not so flush with cash that I can keep losing money. So I'm using my anthology that we're doing in 2023 to see if I can at minimum break even, then we'll do them in 2024. And if not, someone else will have to take up the mantle who might be able to market them and make them make money. So hopefully, because I know we've already gotten people asking about a sequel for the Santa anthology, but I haven't earned out yet. So, I mean, it's nice that they're interested, but, you know, I got to, you got to think mercenary about things. Like, I've got the narrator and the editors, and all those people got to get paid.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, I mean, it is a lot of fun. I'll probably still tell my own short stories. And, you know, now that it covers with the AI generated covers that Jamie Ibsen is doing, I think short content, because the expense of that is you'll never earn out for the cover when you're spending like $250 for a cover, a short story. And, most short stories, 99 cents, you're earning 33 cents a sale. That's a lot of sales to break even. Now, when you can do computer generated covers for $40, well, suddenly it's a lot more doable to break even. And so we're going to play that by year. So one of the things we're going to be doing about the podcast, and then Nick's got some things he wants to talk about, is a buddy of mine, Sparky, Robert. He is into gaming. He's the one who helped me learn when I started DMing the sessions I lead, and he's just, he's a friend of mine. We're going to do a panel that'll go on Wednesdays, not panel, an episode where maybe once a month we just talk nerdy about dice. So RPGs, interview some people, talk about like character generation and not just the mechanics specific to each franchise or each system, but like what do you look for when you do it? What do you look for when you're building your worlds to make it fun for and immersive? Try to branch out and do a lot of various systems that are out there. I know Doc's got some connections to the what was that franchise, Buck Rogers, that you did?
Yeah, we interviewed actually. So
I don't know if we're going to do it as a playlist episode like we do as a side thing and just air it normal season 3 and have it as its own playlist, or if we make it a standalone podcast. But my gut says just to put it as season 3 and then have its own playlist for for people that want to just watch those episodes or listen. So that's our goal. We haven't really named it yet because we want to keep with the Blasters and Blades theme, but we definitely want it to be clear that this is for dice. So that's just an episode for me because I like that stuff. So, and then Nick, you had some ideas that you were going to do for some extra content.
Yeah, I spoke to my wife Abby, who you've seen on the show probably once or twice. I don't need additional holes in me, so it's always good. We had a conversation about content that we could do for this podcast. Not really killer, just more like air content. So we had talked about doing Nick's artist reviews, and I was like, yeah, that's no. I mean, I do drawing stuff, and we'll throw some movies in there and we'll review on it. But I was thinking, and she goes, well, you also like the really old sci-fi stuff, like the 40s, 50s sci-fi stuff, like Plan 9 for Space, Tarantula, these really cheesy old movies. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, I mean, I could do just a review of those because as time progresses, the films keep filling in the gap in between when we start getting into sci-fi in the late 40s, early 50s. In cinema up until now, a lot of people have never even heard of these movies unless they're just, cinema freaks like me. So like Nick's retro review. I'm like, that's a really good idea.
Oh, could we do Tremors?
That does fall into this. Yeah, but what I was looking at is everything from like teen 45 until probably like the last years.
See, I like Tremors, and I will admit my favorite cheesy sci-fi movie is probably Night of the Comet.
And Cisca, I love Night of the Comet. Daddy would have gotten a suit, So when we get to Tremors, we're doing all of Tremors.
There's like 6 movies, right?
And I've seen and love them all.
And a TV series.
Okay, I haven't watched that one. I'm sure I'm going to love it. Does it have the same guy that we all love from the movie?
I don't recall. I'd have to ask. My mom has all of them on DVD.
I'm gonna find
nice.
And watch
in fact, she has Tremors Christmas ornaments.
Nice.
I want the actors. Cisca knows.
So I like those. I like those ideas, and then that could cross post over on your own personal YouTube channel for your work too.
Yeah, absolutely.
For the Apogee stuff.
Reviews was one though, but the retro reviews, like she's got me really spun up on that idea. Like I want to do that. That's what we do. That our time off, like when we're getting ready for bed, we'll throw on a easy black and white, sci-fi movie in the 40s and 50s, sometimes the 60s. It's something I'm a passion I can bring to our that our audience can listen to. Hopefully turn them on to, older. Everyone gets paid.
Okay. What about you, Doc? Got any ideas other than staying awake for season 3?
More me.
I don't know. We're kind of, I'm working on some thoughts. I
So
like
one of the
more stuff with cons. I think that's fun to do, but that's me.
So
You don't go to them though. So, but I am to Con Carolina in June as a guest.
nice. So one of the things I'd like to see you do is you were doing your book talks anyway.
Yeah.
We could upload those for the Blasters and Blades as the YouTube shorts and the reels, because we're going to start an Instagram page. That was one of the recommendations, and start doing some of the YouTube shorts. That would be perfect content for that.
Yeah, I'd have to figure out how. None of us are tech savvy, in case anybody in the audience doesn't know.
Yeah, and I tried to upload a short for the commercial, and it wouldn't do it because I guess I didn't have the camera rotated, or I don't know.
Something happened.
Yeah, I just whatever. I tried to do some edits on the actual podcast to air clips, and it just didn't work. So yeah, live and learn. So overall, because we talk about trying to keep it to an hour. So what's your professional goals, Nick, for 2023 with regard to comics and such?
I would like to put out three books this. I got one that I'm currently working on that should be out by summer of 2023. I have like 4 or 5 that are still in pre-production. They're like story development and stuff. But there's 2 that actually came done. The story's done. The artists are there. I got everything in line. So professionally, I want 3 comics coming out from Appy within the next year. May do 2 to 3 cons. One of them being at a seat.
Okay,
that's my professional goal for the year. I was slacking last year. I'd made this very, very ambitious goal of drawing a payday, and I realized that I can't keep up with that, not with my day job. So, but I'm going to be drawing. That this is like the goal that really has to happen. Is I will be at my drawing table for at least an hour a day working on stuff.
So I have just turned it into the co-author and to the subject matter experts. We're going to tear it apart for me. But I finished my first novel in the Wargate series with the Cursed Brigade, which is a modern-day striker unit gets sucked into fantasy Egypt. So far, I'm really digging it. I realized that if you followed the writing side of things, you realize there's this thing called sensitivity readers. I don't necessarily use them because you check your emotions at the door, you read or you don't read the book. That's on you. But when you're writing Australian characters, because I did, you need the opposite of that. You need an insensitivity reader, because apparently I don't cuss enough to be an Australian soldier.
Well, I would disagree. I think that one of the things is sensitivity readers are there to give you a set of eyes and opinions that want to make sure that it's consistent. And I've had this discussion with somebody who's done sensitivity reading, that there's a time and a place where you're supposed to be insulted. It does that, but you want to make sure that that's correct. So if you're not using a term correctly, maybe you're not using it correctly for the right reason as an author trying to create this narrative.
If you're worried about consistency, that's what a developmental edit would be for. And if you're worried about word usage, I mean, you're already paying an editor.
So, yeah, but I'm just saying that sometimes some of these really good sensitivities readers will look at you and go, did you mean to say this? Because that's kind of an insulting term to this community. Yeah, I did. I meant for that person to be an insulting asshole. Oh, okay. Then you succeeded.
Yeah, I don't know. I just...
I mean, there's a time and a place for some of it.
Okay,
yes,
fair. I don't know.
I'm told that Australians cuss way more than we do, which is pretty impressive.
And then the hard part of that is going to be, on the one hand, my co-author, James Ward, is very aware that he wants some of his fans are younger, so he doesn't want as many customers. He's already gotten on me as like, JR, like you've used the F word in a row 4 times. Can he just say it once? And I'm like, well, no, that's how he would really talk. Like that's
that's part of
that's my inner sergeant coming out. And so like I'm already trying to like find ways to be creative around that, but like, oh, he repeated it like a mantra instead, right? What's that?
Maybe create new ones. I mean, it's always cute and adorable when a child uses the word frack. So
yeah, but
that called me random kitchen utensils.
So I don't know. That can get annoying after a while. The fracks and the made up cuss word.
Somebody and you go, no, you can't call your father a muggle, but he is one. And I'm like, I know, but you're not meaning muggle.
So
oh no, that was the time my child called somebody a mudblood, and I went, no.
Oh, that means different in the muggle world. That's
okay, but yeah, so I don't.
Was his father.
Oh my!
Wow, I don't know. The fake cuss words rub me the wrong way unless you're in a situation where it makes sense. Like if cultures diverge, of course they're going to have different cuss words. But if we're talking modern soldiers, they're not going to say frack. They're going to say something else.
Oh, it's going to be very colorful.
Yeah, and so the other part of that is, but the colorful cuss words that come out of Australia, for instance, would get Zuckerberg and Bezos like kicking me off the internet, probably. Like they use words that start with C as a cuss word, like
it's puation.
Yeah, now when you have to go with what also works in the majority of your market.
Yeah, so it's one of those things where it's going to be an interesting experience. But yeah, so my goal is professionally is if that novel is done, it'll be going to editing like once we're on book 3. But I want to have that one, let the editing thing do its thing and write 3 more next year. I'm aiming for about 100,000 words each. So my goal is about 2,000 words a day, and I can make those realistically happen.
Yeah.
As I want to start getting profit coming in. Bills ain't going to pay themselves, and as we've all watched everything get more and more expensive. So I'm looking at getting those books out. I have gotten the word from Jason and Nick, and I've only said it one other time on Blaine Pardo's podcast, but the Reservist 2 is going into the developmental edits sometime mid to late 2023, so that'll take some time. The reason it's got to go developmental edit, because nowadays I don't tend to need that. There was a gap of time when I wrote that novel where there were several months off just because life. On top of that, a lot has happened in the universe since I started writing that and finished it even, where now they've got to go back through and make canon, because it's not canon until it's published. And so, everyone else that's already gotten books out in that franchise has now changed canon enough that I've got to make some tweaks probably, or at least it's worth looking at to see if it still holds up. So that's in my 2023 as well. And then I wrote a SOAR Marine, which is Special Orbital Assault Regiment, my version of the ODST for the Galaxy's Edge universe. They just didn't see any money in a novella. It's 30,000 words. So I'm going to get the rights to that back. I've got to strip Galaxy's Edge out of it and come up with another not ODST acronym for the ODST type unit, because I love Halo. Like I'm kind of a Halo nerd. Like you can have your Superman and your DC and your Marvel. Give me Halo. Yeah, you could do all of the above, but yeah, so I've got to I want to edit that out as well, and then depending on what goes on with my co-author for my Space Force stuff, some of those are in the process, but I'm sort of writing that at her pace because she's got the stay-at-home mom thing going on.
Life,
much easier schedule than most people think.
Yeah, no, and she's got. I mean, they're only little once, right? And the book's a wait. So, but it's the first. What's supposed to be a novella was it was 20,000 words when I gave it to her. It's almost 50 now. She's doubled it in length, and she turned what was just a first FTL story into Dead Space meets I don't know, Cthulhu and space vibes going on, which is not. Yeah, not a genre I normally write, but I'm I'm digging it. So she's
sci-fi aspect.
Yeah, she is. Well, her husband is a space nerd. Did it for NASA even, and so all the stuff I just waved my hand and be yeah, what space magic. He's going into orbital mechanics and how that would work and I had to change one of the short stories we wrote because I've got a couple anthologies that'll be coming up. The stories are written already. And he's like, yeah, that wouldn't work with the injection seat. They'd break their neck. And I'm like, oh, okay. Well, it sounded cool.
Yeah, well, I mean, maybe they put in an inertia dampening field.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just one of those things where they get really attention to details, but neither one of them are doing this full time. This is just something they're passionate about. And I think letting that passion guide the way, since I'm not counting on it as my main thing, means the quality of what we put out will be that much better for it, I think.
Yeah.
And then one of my goals for Cisca for 2023 is I want to see Nick write some actual more stories. He's good. He sells himself short, but I wouldn't mind seeing him write something.
I mean, it was written in crayon.
I mean, that's how you communicate with your Marine buddies.
Yeah.
So that way.
So we have this anthology that I wrote in 2019 that got nominated for the Hugo with Richard Fox, or is it the Nebula? I get those two mixed up. But that anthology is whichever one goes to World Cup. The Hugo.
The Hugo.
Okay. I tend not to care that much about awards. Most of them aren't geared towards me anyway. But anyway, so that anthology is getting revived with a new name, and then some of the original stories that wanted to have them in the anthology are there. And then we've got some new content, including one from yours truly, Mr. Ranger Nick.
Ooh.
Wrote an original for us, and he got so excited about it. He was like, I can't wait to make this a franchise, and we're going to have books and movies. And like, he was super passionate. Which was kind of fun.
I think big.
Me too, unfortunately. That could be a blessing and a curse.
Yeah, if anybody want to really read about Space Roman, then I mean,
it had some very strong vibes of A Long Way Home by Hugh Howey, if anybody's read that one. Have you read that one, Doc?
Which one?
Long Way Home by Hugh Howey?
No.
So the premise is they basically send baby batter in a tube on these long missions, and then they clone you when you get there, and then you're raised in a vat where they basically imprint the personality they need you to be. So someone's got to be the counselor and the mechanic and the teacher and blah 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 to colonize these worlds. And that's sort of the vibe he gives with the opening of how he gets his people to colonize these planets, which I thought was kind of cool. And then he added guns because guns make everything better.
Guns, drones, mine, artillery, fat ass space was awesome.
And he made his own horses. There aren't horses that are kind of cooler. So I was digging it. But we're waiting. Only thing we're waiting on that anthology is the cover to be redone by Jamie. But that we got him the names and the dimensions like week before Christmas, so it's kind of unrealistic to expect a fast turnaround. Life happens like that. So. But the story was really good, so I'd like to see Nick do more in the literature side of things on the written word.
I had so much fun doing that you can guarantee I pull out some more literary works from Ranger Nick.
It was fun.
To write paragraphs in 2022.
You're talking smack, Doc. I read the story, and it's actually pretty inspired.
And we haven't
smack, but it's just fun smack.
Yeah, I know.
That's fine.
And I am going through in 2023. I wanted out in Q1 the Love Finds a Way short story Doc and I did. That Autumn, what is her official? Is it Autumn?
Autumn Juliet.
There we go. She did the narration for us. I've got to go through and get that ready to as published as short content. And we've actually talked about potentially putting that behind the not the paywall, the subscription model, but I don't know. I kind of like the idea of everyone being able to hear it too, right? Like the whole reason we write stories is so people can read them.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the right answer is, but we're definitely looking at ways
we'll talk about it, and maybe people who are listening can give us their feedback on that idea. Oh,
go ahead.
I forgot to mention, and I'm going to be running Page to Stage again this year. The costume.
Congrats.
That's going to be lots of fun.
That will be.
Okay. So we spoke at the beginning. We spoke at the beginning about trying to keep this up for about an hour was our goal. It's been 59 minutes and 17 seconds, so I think it's time to bring this to a close. But before we do you have any predictions for 2023 on the literary nerddom side of things? Doc?
I think in regards to the podcast or in general?
More general. We talked about the podcast. I think this is more from the
I think we're going to start seeing some more classic style, probably fantasy coming out. Not just the teen angst, but stuff like with Mercedes Lackey's Valdemar series being made into a production. You know, after Game of Thrones came out, we saw a lot of the epic fantasy, the dragons, massive combat. I think we're going to start seeing some more items like the Herald of Valdemar, classic fantasy novels coming out that they may be marketed towards YA. Like, I know there's Arrows of the Queen by Mercedes was definitely if YA had been a genre, then it would have been marketed as YA. But it wasn't a genre then and didn't come around for like 20 years until afterwards. So I think we're going to start seeing some more of that kind of novel coming out, which would be great. I think we're going to see some more shared worlds like the Four Horsemen universe. Mel Todd has another one that she's coming out with where it's authors collaborating in a shared universe.
So Mel Todd and I can't remember the lady's name she's co-writing that with, but she's actually going to be coming on the show early season 3 to talk about that. We've got to get her on the docket. I have been looking around for authors that we haven't interviewed before because that is the danger. Doc's Rolodex has been pretty much hit in 2 seasons of Sci-Fi Shenanigans and now 2 of Blasters and Blades. And we want to mix it up and get different audiences. That's part of our plan to shake it up a little. So I found some interesting people that are new authors on the Instagrams that I've reached out to. Some of them have said no for various reasons. We're trying to get a few that write sci-fi or fantasy romance just because it's a change of pace. A lot of those say no. I wonder how many of the girls saying no are actually dudes writing under a pen name, and that's why they can't come on the podcast. But either way, so we've reached out for that. And then my prediction for 2023, I think the age of nostalgia is dying. I think people are fed up with their favorite properties being butchered for various whims of publishers that don't tend to like the source material, it seems. So I suspect 2023 is going to be the year of a lot more new content instead of just, rehashing the same story. But this time it's going to totally be different when we tell it for the 47th time. Look at you, Spider-Man. But what about you, Nick? What are your predictions when it comes to that?
I think you're absolutely right. When it comes to like nostalgia kind of getting played out, so I anticipate a lot of new ideas, new stories. Maybe probably a creation of genre.
I think
it will be, but
the likes of the big 5, for one, are going to, I think they're turning more to indie authors and bringing them into their trad pub business model.
So
you've seen that with R.R. Veerdy, Larry Correia previously, but I think we're going to see that with other authors who have been traditionally, for them, mostly indie, doing some more traditionally published, which will be great because I really think that there's room in this world for people to dovetail and do some of both.
So one of the things you mentioned about the shared worlds, we're having her on to talk about it, but I'd like more broadly to talk about that as a discussion where it's just the 3 of us one episode, because there's some good things about that, and there's also some downsides where you can super load the franchise so quickly that it becomes daunting. Where suddenly there's 100 books in 2 years in that franchise, and it's where do I start? Yeah. And that's something to consider too.
So both of those are. I think that's a great topic for a fireside chat.
And then go ahead.
No.
I say to clarify, when I talk about the death of nostalgia as a marketing tool, I don't necessarily mean like if you have an existing IP and you're telling new content in different corners of the universe. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is when they just keep retelling the same tale over and over again and expecting us to keep buying in because it has the same name.
It's a big one that we have in the comic book industry, and it's probably what a lot of people are steering away from what we call stream comics, more independent, because as we've been reading these same books as far as any creators, and I think we found workarounds to make where we have to start with an origin sheet. We don't have to do the same retelling of every other superhero. Like, oh, they lost their family, they got hit by a meteor, struck by lightning, whatever. You know, we're all trying to like break out that paradigm and come up with something new and interesting to bring. And I think that's going to happen. Literary will too. Now you can use nostalgia as a base as long as you're telling a new story. People, you know, what I give a shit factor. I care. You know?
So as we wrap this up, before we let you go, Doc, where can people find you on the wild interwebs?
So I am definitely via the Blasters and Blades social media. If it doesn't get to me immediately, it'll get to me via JR. I am on Facebook as Cisca Small. I am on TikTok as Cisca Small. And Instagram as Fantasy Page to Stage, because that I really started doing that for the costume contest, and so those are pretty much how you find me. Don't go out in public trying to find me unless it's Con Carolina. I'm probably hiding in the back of the office. Okay.
And what about you, Nick? How can they find the great, the mighty, the maestro of Apogee Comics?
Oh my lord! My head's not going to fit out the door. You can find me on all social media under Nick Garber Art. You can also find me on all the other socials, Apogee Comics. If you're going to look for me on TikTok, I warn you, it's just me, Beefy. And you can find me there at Mando_agent.
Okay, and you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and my website, jrhandley.com, and all the places you look for me, it will be jrhandley.com. So I kind of keep it simple. I just use my name. I try to be easy like that. You can find our podcast at twitter.com/SF_fantasy_show, Sierra Foxtrot _fantasy_show. You can email us at blastersandbladespodcast@gmail.com. Again, blastersandbladespodcast@gmail.com. You can find us on Facebook where all the shenanigans happen at facebook.com/groups/Blasters and Blades Podcast. Again, /groups/Blasters and Blades Podcast. We do have the Facebook page, but we do not have enough likes yet. Hint, 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 for it to have its dedicated URL, but that will be coming. Our website is anchor.fm/Blasters and Blades. Again, anchor.fm/Blasters Blades. We are in the process at some point. I know we've been saying it for several months of getting a proper website, but for now, that's us, where you can support the show for as little as 99 cents a month. You can help keep the lights on, or you can support the show more directly at buymeacoffee.com/author J.R. Handley. Again, buymeacoffee.com/author J.R. Handley. Be sure to put in the comment section that it is for the podcast, and I will keep my co-hosts, Doc Cisca and Nick Garber, duly caffeinated. They will drink until their eyeballs float away. All right, bring it home, Doc.
Okay, thank you for spending some of your precious time with us. For Nick Garber and J.R. Handley, I am Doc Cisca, and this was the Blasters and Blades podcast. We'll be back next week, same time, same place, indulging our love of nerd culture, TV joke, all things that go boom, and of course, picking on the boys, because that is what's fun.
All right, and we promise we will fix these tech issues before next season.